So guys, no misses here. Today we'll be talking about the X factor of the Nets. So make sure to subscribe and comment and put on those post notifications. Thanks for all the support. Let's keep growing on that 20. We get hit that 10 subscriber. Let's hit that 20 subscriber grind. So today I'm gonna be talking about probably one of the most important player if this guy could actually live up to his role and everything, and he could play within his role, and that is Joe Harris. Joe Harris is averaging 15 points per game, which is a career high, and I could feel like he could unlock another level of shooting for the Nets. And Joe Harris is shooting 51% from three, which is an all-time high, and he for 6 attempts, and he just got James Harden, who is one of the best, who has one of the best visions or playmakers in this league currently right now. And I feel like we could see him finally blossom into this Duncan Robinson type player, where he is just, how would I say this, where he's just running off ball, running around screens that KD, DeAndre Jordan, and them are finally where he could get open and he could take shots. This man is a running 3-point shooter, and the last time James Harden had somebody good shooting was like Eric Gordon, like 3 years ago, and then they were like a 50-win team. So I feel like James Harden with this matchup with this guy coming off screens would be very deadly. The thing is, will D'Antoni, Steve Nash, Amar Stoudemire, will they be able to create up the system where they are playing Joe Harris off ball instead of having him at the hash or having him in the corner for a corner three whenever James Harden gets into the paint, KD or Kyrie get into the paint? Yeah, that's good, but that's not. We've seen it with James Harden with the Houston Rockets, where in playoff time, I don't think that could happen. So, and you have players that could set picks that are big enough and who can handle the hits from other players who could be screeners like James Harden. I feel like James Harden could be a decent screener with he's like 6'5", but he weighs like a small forward, power forward, and he just big body built, and which helps him get into contact more. But I feel like he could benefit off the screenings if he was a screener, and then maybe a pop situation where he leaks off to the corner, and then you have Joe Harris running to the hash, and then you maybe have Kyrie distributing the ball to either one of them, and whoever gets open, that's basically a made three right there. And it's just that I don't know if this coaching regime is like, I would say, does want to do this off-ball stuff like what the Miami Heat do, what the Warriors do, even to some degree what the Lakers do. So yeah. Also with this he's also an asset. I mean, every team's looking for a dead shooter, and with his contract, you could probably get a team friendly deal center if you really want. DeAndre Jordan has been playing good, and I think with Joe Harris you could go so many ways. I mean, off the bench you've had Timothy Cabarrot. He's been a decent shooter. You had Bruce Brown, good D&3 player, or D&D player, 3 player. But I think the best situation is that you would keep Joe Harris and have them come off the bench, because I don't think they could play 25 to 30 minutes a game. And I feel like Joe Harris would just let you level up into that area where big threes haven't gotten. Because the thing is that with this James Harden trade, you gave up Chris LeVert and Jared Allen, and then that was really it. You gave up all the picks, but you still have Spencer Dinwiddie, who's probably gonna come back next year, and maybe I could see them this year winning the championship just because how talented the scoring currently it is. But once they go against LeBron and Kawhi defensively at the defensive rim, they're gonna struggle a lot. So maybe this team probably doesn't win the championship this year. But next year, when they have Spencer Dinwiddie back, when they probably have their mid-level exception, and they just and then maybe the salary cap goes up. I don't know about that. We're still too early in the season to see, but yeah, it's just that how would I say this? Joe Harris could go both ways, where he could stay on this team. The only thing is that their pace is so fast. Will they run the plays? If when they just could take a midi with James Harden, which he's been taking more mid rangers now, um, or will they just do ISOs with Kyrie, and will Joe Harris just be at that hash? And I feel like, or the corner three, where I feel like James Harden would be at the hash, but I feel like they have a very simple offense, but their offense is probably one of the greatest, just because of they have like 2 top 5 offensive players ever, and then Kyrie's like a top 20 player ever, and it's just this team just offensively is historic, and defensively they're gonna struggle. Yes, Joe Harris is an alright defender, alright wing defender. DeAndre Jordan is what he is. He did have a good game. He did have a good fourth quarter at a game, but a fourth quarter against the Milwaukee Bucks. But just in the East, when you have Giannis and Joel Embiid who are gonna dominate the paint, I feel like you need somebody like Jared Allen, who's one of the best rim protectors, Mitchell Robinson type player, and they don't have that, and it just really shows. And maybe they're not trading DeAndre Jordan, because whole point of DeAndre Jordan being there was because of KD. It was a recruiting effort from DeAndre Jordan to get him to the Nets. So, and ethically, I don't even want to talk about how Spencer Dinwiddie could be there, could be for a trade piece, and then maybe Bruce Brown, or who's an alright DN3 player, maybe Timothy Lawal-Cabro. You have some second rounders, but I don't think that could get you maybe there's also a free agent. What's his name? He played for the Kings and Atlanta Hawks and the Spurs. Jesus, I'm forgetting his name. But maybe maybe you just really need a jump and dunk guy, and there doesn't seem to be that many players. Maybe you could do a 3-team trade to get a jump and dunk guy. There's always you could always go small and have KD, but that just depends on the matchup. I could see you guys trading for maybe Marquise Chris, Ivan Rabb, young big, maybe Mason Plumlee. Mason Plumlee is an underrated defender, I would say. Decent playmaker too. Maybe Mason Plumlee. I know the Detroit Pistons will be always looking to trade in for some picks. Yeah, I like that Mason Plumlee deal. Maybe a second round pick and Bruce Brown or Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, some of your wing depth, or if you really want to go all out, maybe Joe Harris for maybe JaVale McGee type player, or yeah, something like that. I mean, yeah, it's just there's so many directions you could go with this Joe Harris. This big three is a very uncanny, where they don't have all their assets, but they still have player assets. They still have Joe Harris. They have Spencer Dinwiddie, and they could go out. But I feel like if you trade Joe Harris, you're kind of stunning yourself. Where what if James Harden's not having a good night, and he's kind of your fourth option right now, since Spencer Dinwiddie's out for the year. But once Spencer Dinwiddie comes back, he's gonna be your sixth option. That's gonna be a very offensive heavy team. And I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie, I feel like has the ability to play off ball, and he's all right defender. Where Joe Harris is playing off ball, and he knows his role. Where the big three just like they don't know where they are, and we're gonna find out today what that big three is gonna look like and how it's gonna look. If Kyrie's coming back today. James Harden's been putting up 30-point bombs. KD put up like a silent 40 and like a 25. thing since the two games they played together. It's just that is will they be able to buy in together? I have no problem with Joe Harris as the fourth option, and that's a very good fourth option. Is that are they gonna trade him to be better defensively, or are they just gonna be a start great offense where where they just outscore everybody and they're okay defensively? Because KD at the four is a great defensive player. James Harden, I feel like when he wants to, he could play really good defensive player, one of the best guards for on post defense. Kyrie, he's okay. He's not really bad. He's not like a Trey Young type player. He won't hurt you, but he won't make you guys better. Where James Harden, I feel like if James Harden wants to be a defender, I feel like he could be above average defender. Bruce Brown's a good defender. You have okay defensive players on the perimeter. It's just that defensively interior, this team could needs a lot of more work. And this happened with the Miami Heat big three where they had to start like Chris Anderson, and they had to start Greg Oden, and they had to start all these players that they weren't really good at, and they just finally said, okay, Chris Bosh, you're moving to the five, but and which was ahead of its time, but KD I don't think could move to the five. I don't think he's strong enough to keep up. Well, definitely not strong enough to be Joel Embiid. He's maybe Giannis, maybe. He could probably handle Giannis sometimes, but Giannis would just on the fast break. There's no way I think he can handle Giannis. Sorry, there's a trash truck coming over, but it just depends. You could go both ways. This is why I'm so interested, because this X factor is just very ununique with the big three. Once the big three's there, there's probably no usually the big three's there. There's no trades that they can usually make, but now they have options where they could go, hey, we have enough offense, but let's try to get better defensively, and they could either go that way, or they could go, let's keep where we at. Let's try to not mess with chemistry that much, and let's try to make this run this year. And if it doesn't work out, we got next year. Because I think James Harden is gonna resign, no matter what. I think KD. There's really never that conversation as how's James Harden relationship with KD, but there's always that oh, James Harden likes Westbrook, but did KD ever like Harden? Is that my thing? We never seen news articles of where I've never seen news articles where KD loves James Harden, and so maybe that's a conflict, but I think Kyrie's down for whatever. I think him just winning another championship increases his legacy, and also KD. He's the leader of this team. James Harden is just on the side, because and then James Harden is just like the Robin. And then how would I say that Kyrie's like the Alfred of the group. And then KD's the Batman, I think. Or maybe KD takes a smaller role and then this becomes Harden's team, but I doubt that. I think Harden's willing to. I think Harden saw, and I think he saw from our perspective where we know that team was never gonna win, and he was just being honest with himself. And honesty hurts, but you would have to have for that Houston Rockets team. You'd have to have that team. You'd have to have that whole team buy in and play to all their primes. Christian Wood was playing great, but you would have to have DeMarcus Cousins. He's been okay, but you would have to have Kings DeMarcus Cousins, not even like the Pelicans DeMarcus Cousins. You would have to have Kings DeMarcus Cousins. Then you'd have to have all NBA John Wall come back. John Wall's been good, but he's been like some 85% from all NBA, which is I don't think that's good enough to be championship contenders. And maybe, and I think would pick the Clippers or the Lakers to beat them still. So yeah. All right. This has been a longer video. Just talk about the Nets overall. I didn't really talk about Joe. I did talk about Joe Harris and how many different directions they could go, but I feel like they need to trade for a center. They don't have to. I think this team will be offensively great enough, and it's not like once they get into the finals with LeBron or Clippers, the AD matchup will be struggling, but if it's a better matchup for it's a better matchup for if the Brooklyn gets the Clippers because they don't really have a dominant big man, and I can see Brooklyn winning that, but I still would have the Lakers winning it if the Nets don't make a big man trade and try to guard up on AD. There's also the buyout market which could be coming soon. I could see Thaddeus Young in the buyout market. I could probably see Dwayne Dedman. He's currently in free agency. That's the player I was talking about. So yeah, if you guys want to suggest more trades, if you guys want to talk about it more, there's always a comment section. There's always the subscribe button. You guys can always just comment, hey, no misses. What do you think about this? Just stay interactive. This is just not my channel. Remember that it's everybody's channel. It's the public's channel. So if you guys want to talk about takes, I'll be gladly to talk about takes. I'll respond to every comment, asking a question about whatever. So yeah, all right, no misses out. Make sure to subscribe and comment, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.